Welcome back to Reality TV Uncovered, the channel where we dive deep into the lives of your favorite stars from shows like 90 Day Fiancé. If you're a fan of the franchise, you know David Toborowski and his wife Annie Zwan as one of the most loved couples in the series. Today, we're not here to celebrate their happy ending. We're here to talk about a heartbreaking turn of events that has left fans around the world shocked and praying. On August 15th, 2025, just 2 days ago, David Toborowski was involved in a devastating car accident in Louisville, Kentucky. His condition is critical, and he is currently fighting for his life in the ICU at the University of Louisville Hospital. This is the full story of David's rise to fame on 90 Day Fiancé, the tragic day that changed everything, and the ongoing battle he's facing right now. Stick with me as we walk through this real-life tragedy step by step. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. To understand how serious this situation is, we have to go back to the beginning. David Toborowski was born on May 21st, 1969, in Louisville, Kentucky, the same city where this accident happened. He grew up in a middle-class American family and always had a strong sense of adventure. He went on to earn degrees in health administration and business, which eventually led him to work and travel internationally. By the time he appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, David had visited more than 63 countries. He worked in international business and education, traveling all over the world. But his life was far from perfect. Before meeting Annie, David went through a painful divorce. He struggled with alcoholism and faced serious financial problems, forcing him to start over later in life. By his late 40s, he had lost almost everything. In 2016, while teaching English in Thailand, David's life changed forever. He was 48 years old and living modestly in Bangkok when he heard a beautiful voice singing in a local karaoke bar. That voice belonged to Annie Zwan, a 24-year-old woman from Bueng Kan, a small village in northeastern Thailand. Annie grew up in poverty and dreamed of a better life. Their meeting felt like something out of a romantic movie, but real-life challenges quickly followed. David proposed after just 10 days of knowing her. Their large age gap, cultural differences, and David's financial struggles made their relationship difficult from the start. When they appeared on 90 Day Fiancé Season 5 in 2017, viewers watched David bring Annie to the United States on a K-1 visa. Many friends and family members doubted their relationship. David's best friend Chris even asked him to borrow money to pay Annie's dowry, highlighting just how bad David's financial situation had become. Annie, known for her fiery personality and quick humor, clashed with David's adult children from his previous marriage, Ashley, Jacob, and Jen. There were arguments, tears, and moments where it seemed like everything might fall apart. But through it all, their love remained strong. They eventually married in a beautiful ceremony that blended Thai and American traditions. Fans connected with their honesty and real struggles, and David and Annie quickly became one of the most beloved couples in the franchise. After the show, they continued appearing on 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, and later settled back in Kentucky. Their playful banter on Pillow Talk made them fan favorites. Annie's sharp comments and David's relaxed humor were a perfect match. In 2022, they received their own spin-off, David and Annie. After the 90 days, which followed their journey to bring Annie's family to the U.S. and their emotional IVF journey as they tried to start a family. After years of fertility struggles, Annie announced she was pregnant in July 2024. On March 11th, 2025, they welcomed their daughter, Ava Marie Toborowski, in Thailand. At 55 years old, David became a first-time dad again, though he already had 3 adult children from his previous marriage. The birth of Ava was a joyful moment shared with fans around the world. David posted heartfelt photos and wrote, "Throwback to 11 years ago when I was teaching in Thailand. Every day off, I would venture into Bangkok. Now holding my daughter here feels like destiny." At the time, their life seemed perfect. Together, David and Annie built an estimated net worth of around $4 million through cameo videos, sponsored posts, and Annie's cooking brand, Boom Bangkok by Annie. David remained sober and became an inspiration for overcoming addiction, while Annie grew into a social media star with over 1 million followers. But tragedy can strike at any moment. On the morning of August 15th, 2025, David's day began like any other. Around 8:45 a.m., he was driving his silver Toyota RAV4 on Interstate 64 near downtown Louisville. He was on his way to a routine doctor's appointment. The weather was overcast, with light rain making the roads slick. According to police reports, David was driving in the middle lane when a semi-truck driven by a 42-year-old man from Indiana suddenly swerved into his lane. Witnesses say the truck driver appeared distracted, possibly using his phone, and did not signal before changing lanes. The crash was catastrophic. The semi-truck clipped the front of David's SUV, causing it to spin across 2 lanes. The vehicle slammed into the median barrier, flipped once, and landed on its side. Debris scattered across the highway, triggering a multi-car pileup behind him. First responders arrived within minutes, but the scene was chaotic. Paramedics had to use the jaws of life to free David from the wreckage. He was unconscious, bleeding heavily from head injuries, and his left leg was trapped under the dashboard. One eyewitness, a nurse named Sarah Jenkins, pulled over to help. She later told local news, "I saw the whole thing. The truck just cut him off. No warning. When I reached the car, the man inside, later I learned it was David from 90 Day Fiancé, was barely breathing. He had a deep cut on his forehead and his arm looked broken. I held his hand and told him to hang on until the ambulance arrived." David was rushed to the University of Louisville Hospital, a level 1 trauma center just miles away. Annie, who was at home with baby Ava, received the call no spouse ever wants to get. She later posted on Instagram, "My heart stopped when they said David was in an accident. Please pray for him. He's my everything." At the hospital, doctors immediately classified David's condition as critical. His Glasgow Coma Scale score was 8, indicating a severe brain injury. Scans revealed multiple fractures, including a broken left femur, 3 cracked ribs, a shattered collarbone, and a compound fracture in his right arm. Most concerning was the traumatic brain injury. David suffered intracranial bleeding, brain swelling, and a subdural hematoma that required emergency surgery. Neurosurgeon Dr. Elena Ramirez led the operation, performing a 4-hour craniotomy to relieve pressure on David's brain. During surgery, David's heart stopped twice due to massive blood loss caused by internal injuries, including a lacerated spleen. Doctors were able to resuscitate him, but his condition remained extremely fragile. After surgery, David was placed in a medically induced coma to allow his brain to heal. He remains on a ventilator, surrounded by monitors tracking every vital sign. Annie arrived at the hospital holding baby Ava, joined by David's children. The family has remained by his bedside ever since, praying and hoping for a miracle. On Facebook, Annie shared an emotional update, writing, "David is fighting so hard. The doctors say the next 48 hours are crucial. He has swelling in his brain, and they are monitoring closely for infection. Our little Ava needs her daddy. Please send prayers." Fans immediately flooded social media with messages of love and support. Hashtags like fellow 90 Day Fiancé stars also spoke out. Loren Brovarnik posted, "David and Annie are like family to us. He's the strongest guy I know, and I believe he'll pull through." Big Ed Brown and other cast members shared similar messages. Even TLC released a statement saying, "Our thoughts are with David Toborowski and his family during this incredibly difficult time. We wish him a speedy recovery." But the truth is, David's fight is far from over. As of August 17th, 2025, David remains in critical condition. Doctors have confirmed that while the emergency surgery successfully stopped the bleeding in his brain, the swelling has not gone down. He is receiving high doses of mannitol to reduce intracranial pressure, and doctors are closely monitoring him for seizures, which are a common complication following traumatic brain injuries. His broken leg will require additional surgery once his condition stabilizes, and doctors are also concerned about possible spinal cord damage caused by the violent flip during the crash. David's past health history adds another layer of concern. He has been open about previous struggles with weight and alcohol, though he has maintained a healthier lifestyle for years. At 56 years old, recovery from injuries this severe is especially challenging. If he wakes up, intensive physical therapy will be essential. Doctors warn there is a real risk of long-term complications, including memory loss, speech problems, cognitive impairment, or even paralysis. Accident reconstruction experts have now weighed in on what happened that morning. Investigators say the semi-truck was traveling at approximately 65 miles per hour, which is the posted speed limit. However, the sudden and unsafe lane change is being considered negligent. The truck driver has been cited for distracted driving and could face further charges, depending on David's outcome. Kentucky State Police are continuing their investigation and reviewing dashcam footage from nearby vehicles. Road safety advocates point out that Interstate 64 is notorious for serious accidents, with more than 500 crashes reported in the Louisville area alone last year. Rainy conditions that morning likely increased the risk, with hydroplaning playing a role. Experts believe David's SUV, which was equipped with modern safety features like airbags and electronic stability control, played a major role in saving his life. Without those protections, the crash may have been fatal on impact. Now, imagine Annie's position in all of this. She isn't just a wife fearing for her husband's life. She's also a new mother, far from her Thai homeland, navigating the American healthcare system under unimaginable stress. In past interviews, Annie has spoken openly about the culture shock she experienced after moving to the United States. Going from the busy streets and markets of Bangkok to the quiet suburbs of Kentucky wasn't easy. Their relationship faced financial struggles, family conflicts, and even tension involving David's ex-wife. But they pushed through every obstacle together, turning hardship into growth. Their IVF journey was one of the most emotional chapters of their lives. After several failed attempts in the U.S., they traveled to Thailand, where treatment was more affordable and success rates were higher for older couples. David stood by Annie through hormone injections, egg retrievals, and emotional highs and lows. When Ava was finally born, David cried on camera and said, "This is the happiest day of my life." Annie gave me a second chance at fatherhood. Ava, now just 5 months old, is too young to understand what's happening. Still, Annie brings her to the hospital every day. Photos shared by the family show Ava resting on David's chest, skin to skin, even with tubes and wires surrounding him. It's a heartbreaking image, but also one filled with hope. David's adult children have come together during this crisis. His son Jacob, who survived being shot in the face in a 2018 accident, knows trauma all too well. He posted online, "Dad has survived so much already. He'll beat this too." Ashley and Jen flew in from out of state, putting aside any past differences to support their father and Annie. The 90-Day Fiancé community has also stepped up. A GoFundMe created by fans has already raised more than $50,000 to help cover medical expenses and lost income. David is self-employed through reality TV appearances and does not have full traditional insurance coverage. Annie's cooking business has been paused, adding to the financial strain. So why does this hit so hard? David and Annie represent an unconventional version of the American dream. Their international love story proved that connection can overcome culture, age, and hardship. Their journey felt real, unfiltered, and deeply human. Fans remember the episode where David admitted, "I hit rock bottom after my divorce. I lost my job, my home, everything. But Annie saw the man I could become." That honesty made him relatable to so many people. In recent months, the couple had been thriving. David lost weight after Ava's birth and shared gym selfies with fans. In June 2025, they celebrated their 7th wedding anniversary with a trip to Thailand, visiting Annie's family. During that visit, David even helped buy Annie's father a new motorbike after his old one broke down in an accident. A painful reminder of how unpredictable life can be. This tragedy shows that fame offers no protection from loss. Other reality stars have faced similar experiences, including Josh Weinstein's son surviving a serious car crash in 2024. David himself had already lived through trauma when his son Jacob was shot in 2018 and required facial reconstruction. As the world waits for updates, it's worth reflecting on David's legacy. He has appeared in more than 200 episodes across the 90-Day Fiancé franchise, from pillow talk to spin-offs. His humor, especially jokes about Annie's cooking and their "boom" catchphrase, helped lighten heavy moments. Off camera, he has been a vocal advocate for sobriety and mental health, openly sharing his recovery journey through AA. A source close to the medical team shared that David is showing signs of stability, but doctors remain cautious. His vitals are improving, but the risk of secondary infections is high. The medically induced coma is helping protect his brain, but waking him will be the true test. Doctors estimate his chances of full recovery at around 50%. With extensive rehabilitation, there is hope he could walk again within months. Annie's strength throughout this ordeal has inspired many. During a live Instagram from the hospital waiting room, she said, "David always says, 'Boom, baby.' That's our motto. We will boom through this." Fans responded by the thousands, sending prayers from around the world, especially from Thailand. To understand David even more, it helps to look back at his life before fame. Born in Louisville, he attended the University of Kentucky. He played basketball in high school but chose to focus on academics. His career in health administration took him across China, Japan, and Europe. He worked in medical tourism, helping Americans find affordable healthcare overseas. That work eventually led him to Thailand, where he began teaching English to support himself. David's first marriage lasted 21 years and resulted in 3 children. When the marriage ended in 2016, he fell into deep depression and turned to alcohol. Meeting Annie became the turning point in his life. She encouraged him to get sober, and together they rebuilt everything. Their wedding was unforgettable, featuring Thai monks, cultural blessings, and an American-style barbecue. Afterward, they moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, for Annie's comfort with the warm climate, but family ties eventually brought them back to Kentucky. Ava's birth was not without complications. Annie developed gestational diabetes and required close monitoring. David was there for every appointment, every moment. He cut the umbilical cord and chose the name Ava, honoring his grandmother, while Marie was chosen for Annie's mother. Now, with David still in a coma, Annie faces motherhood alone while holding on to hope. Friends, including fellow cast member Kalani Fagata, have offered help. Fans continue to share how David and Annie's story changed their lives. One fan wrote, "I was in a bad marriage and struggled with alcoholism like David. Watching him change gave me hope. I'm praying he recovers." Another shared, "Annie's strength as an immigrant wife reflects my own life. She inspires me." And for now, the world waits, hoping that David Toborowski can once again say, "Boom, baby." And mean Itida as the days stretch on, every hour feels heavy for the Toborowski family. Inside the ICU, time moves differently. Machines beep steadily, nurses come and go, and David remains silent, suspended between uncertainty and hope. Doctors say this stage is often the hardest, not just medically, but emotionally for the family watching and waiting. Annie spends most of her time by David's bedside. She talks to him softly, reminding him of their life together, their jokes, their dreams. Nurses say hearing familiar voices can help, even when a patient is unconscious. Annie believes David can hear her. She tells him about Ava, how she smiled that morning, how she wrapped her tiny fingers around Annie's hand. At night, when the hospital grows quiet, Annie admits the fear creeps in. Friends say she has barely slept. When she does rest, it's often in a chair next to David's bed, refusing to leave him alone. Hospital staff have described her as strong but exhausted, holding herself together for her husband and their baby. Doctors continue to run tests daily. CT scans are done frequently to track the swelling in David's brain. While the bleeding has not returned, the swelling remains stubborn. Physicians explain that brain injuries don't follow a straight path. Some days show progress, others don't. It's a waiting game, and patience is critical. One concern doctors are watching closely is infection. With multiple surgeries, open fractures, and time spent on a ventilator, the risk is real. Antibiotics are being administered around the clock. Nurses monitor his temperature, blood work, and oxygen levels constantly. Another challenge is David's lungs. Being on a ventilator for an extended period can weaken respiratory muscles. Doctors hope to reduce ventilator support gradually, but only if his brain pressure improves. Everything is connected, and one setback can slow the entire process. Meanwhile, Investigators continue piecing together what happened on Interstate 64. Authorities have confirmed that the semi-truck driver admitted to looking down moments before the crash. Phone records are being reviewed. If evidence confirms distracted driving, charges could be upgraded. For now, the focus remains on David's survival rather than legal consequences. The trucking company involved has issued a brief statement saying they are cooperating fully with authorities. They have declined further comment. Civil attorneys have reached out to the family, but Annie has chosen not to engage at this time. Her priority is David. Financial pressure continues to build quietly in the background.